Next, we have a fireside chat. It's fair to say Facebook may have come in for a tiny bit of criticism during the morning, possibly some imagery they may not have liked. But here to discuss how that might work, how that relationship might get better, please welcome the Managing Director of Spiegel Online and the Strategic Partner Manager for Facebook in Germany, Jesper Doub and Guido Bülow.
Can we start with saying good morning, everyone?
Good morning, everyone.
Just so that you can sort it out, I'm Jesper from Spiegel Online. That's Guido from Facebook.
Yeah. So, thank you for that introduction, Jesper. Before we kick it off, I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Therefore, I brought a couple of slides. And who in the audience has heard of the Facebook Journalism Project? Please raise your arm. A couple of you, that's good. So those of you that haven't heard of the Facebook Journalism Project, it has been founded in 2017. And the reason we founded that was to strengthen the ties between the news industry and Facebook. There are three areas where we're working together. First of all, collaborative product development. For example, last year we developed a product which is called Free Trial CTA for instant articles. It was something that we developed very closely together with Build in order to get more subscribers for Build Plus. We also have a second pillar, training and tools for journalists. Some of you may know of CrowdTangle, which has been part of the Facebook family since almost 2 years now. And it's a tool where you can get data, competitive data, can monitor your own pages, you can do research, and it's basically for free. A tool which has cost a lot of money, that's now for free. And last but not least, trainings and tools for an informed community. What does that mean? We actually still fighting false news, sensationalism, clickbaiting, and a couple of other things, because the goal of the Facebook Journalism Project is to ensure that the good quality content and journalism thrives on Facebook. And one example we want to discuss today is actually the paywall subscription test we launched in 2017 in autumn, together with like 10 partners globally. But before I get into any details, this is like a conversion funnel, how we think about the user is using different news products. And before we thought about getting into subscriptions, into the subscription business, which is very, very important to us. And I mean, frankly, when I remember for a very, very long time, and still we have a couple of newspapers in our household, which is NRZ and WAZ, because we are from the western part of Germany. And over the time, actually, we added a couple of more newspapers, but digital, not in print newspapers anymore. So we feel like it's very important to support subscription business on Facebook. But like I said, before that, we were thinking about this conversion funnel. How can we ensure to help publishers succeed on Facebook, which is basically my job, what I'm doing day to day. And we have various call to actions where people or publishers are able to get more subscribers for their newsletters, app downloads, so that people and publishers build a relationship through an app. And finally, like I said, we ended up with building the supports for subscription models. So what's our goal here? Why is Facebook doing that? I mean, first of all, we're believing in good quality journalism. And this is, like I said, something I'm working on on a daily basis. And so we want to support publishers to grow their subscription business, but also enable people to get access to the content that they actually like. And a couple of key features that I want to highlight here and stress. Publishers own the pricing, publishers own the data, publishers own the customer relationship. So Facebook is not involved in any of that. And obviously we support flexible business models like metered and freemium. So, Jesper, you have been working together with us for a very long time already, and been alpha tester for the subscription product. Can the subscription test be a part of a future business model on Facebook for you?
Yes. I don't think it's that simple, but yes. Well, we've all been talking and screaming about the changes that Facebook has recently made, and where probably most of us weren't that happy about communications and the way it went on. But to be fair, we've been working on the Facebook journalism project now for over a year together, and what was built with the subscription idea came on quite quickly. So when we sat down with other publishers from Europe at the Facebook Journalism Project, that was one of the biggest things in demand. Do something about paid content. Allow paid content on the platform and help us build subscribers. And what surprised us was the answer, because it came back a couple of months later and said, yes, we're doing it, and we're doing it now. So yes, it is an element, it's alpha. So I think if you go onto the website now or onto Facebook, not necessarily every user gets it. We're on Android since November and on iOS just as of last week, since even Facebook has trouble working with Apple. So that's good news. So in a nutshell, yes, I think it can help. Do I believe that paid content is the only way to survive as a publisher? No, not at all. I think it will always be a balance between paid and reach, so ad-based, but it really depends on where your business is, what your brand is, what your audience is. There's no simple answer to that.
How would you describe the work with Facebook, especially when it comes to this subscription project?
Challenging. I think it really is challenging. As I said, comms is not always great, so understanding whether this is something that we're going to test together or something that we're going to do together is something that is different in the Facebook universe, not necessarily in our universe. If we do something, mostly. Speed is an issue. So when you guys came on and said, we're doing this now, a couple of us publishers said, wait, what? I don't have the resources. Next week? We cannot. So there is something like giving a heads up, trying to do things together. When it comes to working with a team on a daily basis, our developers with the Facebook developers, it was quite great. It was very direct, even though part of them were in Menlo Park and we were in Hamburg, and that went on quite well. And good news is, and that was something that we weren't clear whether that could happen, is that you can have an impact. So we had requests, and they actually went into the product. And that was something that we really appreciated.
Good. What does Facebook need to improve in order to support publishers? I mean, for example, when you take that subscription project, but also like when you think out of the box, apart from the subscriptions.
Well, first and foremost, I think it's about taking a clear and reliable stand, communicating better where you're headed, and I think the last month showed that this didn't go very well, because we are not in a situation where we've had hundreds of people that we can throw into projects and say, oh, you know what, we just spent a year with 10 people on this and it didn't go well, so we'll just turn on to another one. We will have limited research, much more than Facebook has it. So I think we need to be very clear, is this something that I would want to onboard on? Is that something where I say, well, I'll just let the colleagues do it and see if it works, and then I'll join it later? And I think that has improved over the last year, but it's still something that needs to get better.
Do you see any difference between publishers in the US, publishers, let's say, in Germany, Nordics, UK?
No, they're all the same. I can't bear any further example quoting the New York Times when you talk about publishing and paid content in Europe and in Germany. But the New York Times or but the Washington Post, they do a great job. It's just a total different market. And it's inspiring, and it's great how far they've come, but it's not that easy. And even Europe isn't the same. So yes, of course, there are big differences, and I think that is a challenge for you as a global player, but I think you need to address these differences to be successful in a partnership with the European publishers.
Could you, I mean, with your experience from the subscription project, can you highlight just, if, let's say, one example where you see a huge difference? That is a challenge for us?
Well, yes. So if we look at the subscription piece, before we even started metering was a clear thing. And we didn't want to do metering. And we argued a lot because, well, the New York Times or the Washington Post and everyone is doing metering. We weren't into metering. We wanted to go freemium right away because that's our idea how our product should work. So that was a great thing. And I can see that from a developer's perspective. If you're trying to build a solution that is a kind of one-size-fits-all, that is a challenge. But I think other players in the market, other platforms, had these challenges to adjust to regional or local settings, be it legally or just because the markets work differently. So I think, yes, there is a challenge there when you need to sit down and agree to something that someone has in a totally different market, still wants to achieve the same thing, and build a kind of a toolbox for that. And that took time to get us there.
Yeah, true. What do publishers need to do to succeed on Facebook or in a partnership with Facebook? I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that we need to do from our end. And I mean, we started with the Facebook Journalism Project last year in order to improve that relationship or partnership with publishers and to support them. But what can publishers do from their end?
Well, first of all, keep talking. Keep talking, keep arguing, keep discussing, because it's so easy. So normally I would say you will be blamed for pretty much everything, including the weather, except for the weather today, over the past months.
But it's cold outside. Don't forget about that.
And we're great in media in doing that. But to be honest, it's not a single-sided thing. So from a publisher's perspective, we need to adjust as well. We need to be able to do things in a more flexible way. We need to be quicker in making our decisions and getting our heads around the changes that are out there. A good example is, for example, talking about data. So for those of you who haven't been part of the Facebook Journalism Project, we had a couple of issues that we wanted really to go into the deep with Facebook on. One of them was around data. We wanted more data because what we've learned as a media company, what makes them great is data. So we want to have that data. We want to know who our readers are. We want to know what you know. We want to be very smart and clever. It ended up in a couple of sessions with a lot of us sitting there and started shrugging because we actually couldn't really say what we wanted and what we wanted to do with it. So we weren't that advanced at that stage. And that is something where I think we need to work and get better on it, step by step. And the request for Facebook and other publisher platforms as well is, well, help us to learn that and get our head around that. We're not a tech company by trade, we're journalists. So I think that is a challenge for the publishers. I think it is not about sitting there in your room and just crying about it. Get out, shout at them, shout at Facebook and the other ones. Eventually they will listen. That is one of the findings of and I think the colleagues that are on that Facebook Journalism Project as well can see is, if you shout long and loud enough, they do listen.
And it's not that many colleagues, as you might have experienced.
Yeah.
Although, to be honest, I mean, when you look at the team size in regions, it's growing massively. Because, I mean, like you said, you need help. We want to help because, as I mentioned earlier, the goal of the Facebook Journalism Project is also to help journalism thrive on Facebook and elevate the good on Facebook. And therefore, we need to invest more, and we actually are doing it. I mean, when I look to my right, I can see a couple of people that joined me today, which haven't been here like last year, for example. And I know just last week, a couple of new people started, for example, to support you with their integration of, for example, the subscription product and others.
Yes, and I think we should appreciate that. Still, having a debate around quality and fake news and sensationalism and stuff is something that is going to be a long, long journey because it's not going to go away tomorrow. It's not going to be solved. I think we need to bring ideas to the table as well and not just waiting for somebody to solve it because it's not that easy, and everyone who has a newsroom and has tried to battle that and try to find examples does probably know what we're talking about. But again, how many of you have had direct contact with Facebook? So a person from Facebook, and talked to them and sat down and said, these are my challenges. So that's the crowd you guys need to address.
Yeah. You should visit us at our coffee bar and talk to us. Maybe we can start with a conversation over there.
Because, and I really want to stress this, because we always tend to sit around with the bigger brands. It's like a family reunion. We meet at these conferences and we meet at the Facebook Journalism Project. And I think it would be a great idea for smaller publishers or for niche publishers to get in there. And I don't know if the project or the way it's structured is the right place to do that, but it's really worth talking. It's not that these guys have the solutions up the sleeves and hiding them for themselves. They're puzzled as well. So I think it's something that we need to do together. And, well, business-wise, if you guys don't change, if you don't offer a way that we can build up a sustainable business model, there's no partnership. It's quite easy like that.
I can see we're running out of time, so last question from my end. Yeah, obviously.
You're getting out that easy?
Yeah, it's quite obvious. Are there any business models for a digital future besides subscriptions? Is there anything else where you say, hey, that is something where we need to invest more and dig a little bit deeper?
Well, as I said at the beginning, I don't believe that it's only about paid and subscription. I think advertising will be around if you have a strong brand, if you have a big community, you'll have advertisers who are interested in it. I think we're seeing the troubles of programmatic and real-time bidding really showing their face at the moment. Is this going to go away? No, not at all. Is trusted brand and brand safety something that becomes more important in the future when it comes to advertising? Yes, absolutely. Do we need to find clever ways to tell stories, to get our customers or advertisers on board and show them on the products? Yes, and maybe Facebook could be a place to do that as well, or the other platforms. We're working with Snapchat and others to try to find a way to do a combination of editorial content and advertising that is attractive for both sides and still assures independent, high-quality content.
Good. Thank you very much, Jesper.
Thank you, gentlemen. I guess if there is, would you take one lightning question from the floor if there is one? We don't have very much time, but if there is something you're desperate to ask it now. Otherwise, simply ambush one of these fine gentlemen in the break and ask it there. Thank you again, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you.